although they fall short of a national championship, where you have the New England Patriots and Tom Brady and Bill Belichick winning Super Bowl number 6, where the Golden State Warriors, kind of plod at times through the regular season, turn things on when they need to, and look like they could be primed for another NBA championship. And sometimes in the team sports, I feel that we get maybe a little bit tired of the dominant teams, of the dynasties. We get a little bit tired of them. Just the thought that you got to watch this same team once again in a position that you'd rather have your team in, and they couldn't get there. But I feel like in the individual sports, it's a different thing. Nobody felt that way about Arnold Palmer. Nobody feels that way about Jack Nicklaus. And that's why when Tiger Woods wins a Masters, automatically the ratings for the next time that he's playing in whatever tournament it is will shoot through the roof. And I think, yes, he transcends the sport of golf and transcends as a worldwide icon,
phenomenon,
and a sports star at the same time. And the only other athlete I can think of that kind of goes at that level and also had a comeback, although a comeback of a different kind, is Muhammad Ali, which he became more than just a championship boxer, a principled person, whatever it is you might have thought about his views. He was thrown in jail for those views and came back and beat Frazier, and beat George Foreman, and had a whole second tier or even a third tier to probably the greatest career in the history of boxing. And now Tiger Woods has that second stage starting right now. He didn't go to jail. He didn't lose his freedom because of standing up for his rights, but he definitely had a public, meltdown's not the right word, but
falling out.
Well, his personal life was thrown out there for all to see, and that's because of the age that we live in, and that we all want dirt on whomever it is out there, and that dirt's going to come out. But then there's, you can look at the personal issues that he dealt with, cheating on his wife and having all of these rumors about other women that he was involved in during that marriage, and the marriage having a very public breaking apart, in which people, are now looking at Tiger Woods in a much different light than they ever did before, where he was kind of cast as a family man, or a would-be family man. But that's also separate from the other side of this comeback, which are all of the injuries, which is the real reason why it just looked like years ago that the Jack Nicklaus's record for major championships was going to be safe, because 3 or 4 back surgeries, knee surgery, neck problems. This is the other side of the comeback. You're talking about like 8 to 9 years of not just injuries, but the sort of injury that would just end somebody's career after the first surgery, never mind 2, 3 back surgeries too. So that takes this comeback to a whole other level. There's the years of separation between that last major championship and the one that he wins this last weekend. And in all of that time, this incredible story falls out in front of us. And that's the same idea as Muhammad Ali, although it wasn't 11 years between major championships. So, once Muhammad Ali started fighting again, people were watching those boxing matches, and boxing, it's on a different level than it was then, now. But now for golf, if you own the golf rights for TV for any of the tournaments that Tiger is going to be playing in, and this was the case while he was a dominant golfer from the mid-'90s until 2010, it's back there, at least for now. This gives another 3 or 4 years of Tiger Mania, and who's to say that he doesn't keep it going? But it's truly an amazing thing. I can't think of another individual athlete where at least maybe in the last 30 years you've had a story play out like this.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. I know one guy who put $85K on him to win the Masters and ended up coming on the right side of $1.2 million. He trusted Tiger. Now, I made the arrogant statement when I was a senior in college to my buddy. He was a huge Tiger fan, and this comes from a guy personally as myself that doesn't know jack to nothing about golf. And that's displayed vividly when I actually play on the golf course, as you and I will eventually find out. We're going to go play golf one of these days, probably in the summer.
You sure about that?
Once baseball season.
You have clubs? I do have clubs. I got to find them somewhere.
I got clubs.
I'm not exactly sure where they're located.
But do you remember the statement from Rudy Tomjanovich, who's the old Houston Rockets head coach, where he has a statement, don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion? This guy is arguably the first or second golfer of all time. You have all these golf pundits, different radio hosts, different writers, and again, I'll point this out, including myself, that had written him off. And now there were some things, not only in his personal life, but his physical health in general, that gave us reasons to think that he was no longer going to be able to get to that point that he was.
I remember watching a tournament that he's playing in a few years ago, and every time he swung the club, he could barely move.
He grimaced, yeah.
It wasn't just a grimace. It was obvious, almost unbearable pain. And you're thinking, how is this going to continue at all? And it's night and day, obviously, now.
You think about the mishap he almost had when the security guard was running across trying to prevent patrons, almost said spectators, but they're patrons in Augusta, from mobbing him, and he ends up almost cracking his ankle, it looked like, which was a scary situation for all Tiger fans and Tiger himself. Luckily, he was able to play through it. It didn't look like it caused him effect that much. But back to Tom Janovich's point, we just had, so many people had written him off, and he basically said, no, like, I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to get it. And now the question becomes, can he catch Jack? Is he back? And he was asked that, and he answered that yesterday.
Talking to Brooks outside not too long ago, he said Tiger's back. Do you feel like you're back physically, mentally, and everything that it takes to win at this level?
Yeah, I do, because I just did it, you know? I was able to play some of my best golf over the last, basically, I think the last 3 days. And the first day was a little bit here and there, but the last 3 days I really played well.
So he's got a couple more to go. He's got 3 more to catch Jack, 4 more to beat him out. So,
what an answer. Yes, I'm back, because I just did it.
So,
do you need any more proof, right?
I mean, you remember, I told you this was a couple weeks ago on the show when Jordan sent that fax to a bunch of media members in Chicago. What did it say on it? I'm back. That's all. That was the entire message from Michael Jordan, just saying, I'm back to the NBA. Now, again, the age difference, not only in basketball and golf, there's different variants and stuff we could get into about that, but you wonder how much he can push himself these next few years, because eventually his health is going to fail him in terms of golf, in terms of him physically being able to do what he needs to do to compete with the best players in the world. Because Koepka and those guys, they were giving him all he could handle. This was not the same Tiger that you've seen in years past, being able to just run away and just beat out other golfers by a pretty good margin. Like he had a lot of competition down the stretch between yesterday's match. So I'm just curious to see how much he can do moving forward. And this is not the same aggressive golfer that we saw when he was younger. He's laying up more. He was being less aggressive, and other guys kind of were playing aggressive and ended up biting them in the keister. So I'm just curious to see moving forward if he's able to kind of transition his style a little bit, coming with age, and if he can still win that way, kind of like he did yesterday.
So let's see that. So he's 43 years old, and Jack won that last major at the age of 46.
Yeah.
If I remember, if it was the 1983 Masters, I think. So you got another 3 majors this year, age of 43. Let's say, I mean, these are tough things to win, right? Theoretically. So let's say, are you able to pull off 3 of those in the next 3 years? Is that doable from age 43 if Jack Nicklaus wins his last at 46? Can you pull off it? And I would assume Jack Nicklaus was in really great shape no matter what, but athletes now are better athletes than they were then, and Tiger Woods is probably the greatest athlete in the history of golf. I mean, you just see how he has, just the way he swings the club more than anything. So what's to say he can't pull this off? When is the next major? That's the thing now, is because this is what I'm getting at the start of the show. I am a less than casual golf fan. I feel like I saw this same phenomenon on more of a local scale during the College World Series.
PGA Championships a month away, and I'm kind of like you. And the good thing about Phil and I, we're not going to get on this show and say, "Oh, we've been watching golf all night." We're just going to be honest. We're going to say,
"Yeah, we'll BS you about other things, just not this."
Just not this.
But there are a lot of people in this state that I don't think are baseball fans, but became Razorback baseball fans when they almost won the national championship last year. And it's sometimes an event like that, or a season like that, or a comeback like this, or just a star like Tiger Woods' impact being back to where he was 11 years ago. And, I mean, look, his career is about as old, almost as old as you are, Ty. Am I right? I mean, I'm remembering him. I remember the Nike I Am Tiger Woods commercial campaign when he first turned pro. And I think that was 1997, 96 or 97, and this has been going on for a really long time now. So this is the kind of thing that will draw my eyes to the television screen, the casual golf fan to the television screen, and the less than casual golf fan too. And it will turn into the largest sports story in the country this year.
Yeah,
and that's saying something. Look at the old guys and what they've done now. Look at Tom Brady winning another Super Bowl. And doesn't look like there's any end in sight for him. It wasn't a comeback, in the sense of how Tiger Woods has kind of disappeared and looked like he was done, and now look what he's done, winning another Masters championship. But the old guys are showing him how to get it done these days, Ty. Good for them. Good for guys like me. Tiger's a year older than me, so maybe it gives me a little boost as well.
Ego boost, I guess. If you want to look at it that way, I'm okay with that.
You got some more audio here, and this was one of the things that was just that was touching about, and I know that there's this draw of fathers and sons when it comes to golf, and of course the story of Tiger and Earl is a major part of what's interesting about Tiger Woods to begin with. You have some audio about comparing what it's like to win it in front of his dad and comparing to win it in front of his kids for the first time.
It's crazy how life just evolves and goes on. 97, my dad wasn't really supposed to be there, wasn't supposed to travel, but he came. Gave me a little putting tip on Wednesday night and ended up making everything that week. Yesterday, Sam had a soccer game for states, and they didn't make it to the final, so I asked them if they wanted to come up, and I had to talk them into it. And they both came up, and next thing you know, their dad's a Masters champion.
You're a father, Phil. I'm not, so I don't have that type of relationship. I mean, I have a good relationship with my dad, but that's from a son perspective. Tommy talked about it a little bit this morning, what it would be like to have your children there and win the Masters. It's just a special moment. It's just it's different because 20 years down the line, you're doing it in front of your kids when you did it in front of your father the first time. It's a cool moment.
It is a very cool moment. That's right. And I've shared the air. I've shared radio broadcasts with my father. I did a few baseball games with him in the minor leagues. And I've had, I don't know if you could say that I'd really put the kids on the air, but more so they might have grabbed a headset and thrown it on and might have said something into a microphone a couple of times. But that's right. It's passing it down. It is. It's definitely passing it down. And it's really, it's neat to see how Tiger obviously has this great relationship with his kids. That's what it seems like as well. Not like I really am up close and personal with what they're doing, but coming from a broken family, and again, that happened on a public on a public platform, in front of everybody, and now these kids get to see this. So yeah, it's it tugs at the heart, it tugs at the emotions, and it definitely will be playing further on for the rest. Great way to really start the golf season, right? With a bang. It's like I've always criticized NASCAR for having their so-called Super Bowl, the Daytona 500, to open the season. Now I know this wasn't the first tournament of the year, but it's the first major, and it feels like it's a kickoff to the golf season, and it's as bigger, maybe bigger than a Super Bowl win with what Tiger did.
Yeah, I would argue it's just the most entertaining of the golf, and I'd probably say the Ryder Cup, just because I like that style, how the fans interact, and kind of it's a little more edgy. I guess that's the best way to put it. It's a little less golfy and a little more edgy. It has less of a gentleman's feel to it and more of kind of ragtag, my type of thing. But the Masters is definitely second for me, and I don't think there's really anything close that comes to it. Like U.S. Open, British Open, PGA, I don't think they hold a candle to the Masters, and I think the Ryder Cup barely edges out the great tournament at Augusta.
Well, we're going to go back to local stuff after the break. There's lots of stuff coming around from football recruiting at Arkansas. You actually have real grass to play on at the Razorback Stadium, and some basketball stuff to talk about. Plus, there was a baseball series that Arkansas played at Vanderbilt, and I was right there, and that's why I got back late last night. We'll get some of that stuff in next on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
No hidden agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime. This is the Morning Rush.
Listen, we've all worked in places, been in organizations where you've had bosses and people you've worked with that believed in you and supported you, and ones that did and ones that didn't. It's always easier to work in an environment where you work with people that support you versus people that don't. People that believe in you versus people that don't.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Hot dog! Spring is finally here and not a moment too soon. Hi folks, Larry Rath here with a better way to drive at Rath Auto Resources. No spring training here. Our all-star team is ready to help you hit a home run with savings up to $3,200 below retail. And the bases are loaded with the freshest inventory in the fort. Cars, trucks, SUVs, all the most popular makes and models right here in one spot. To make this team, these vehicles have to be Rath Road ready. That means they're hand-picked, then inspected and reconditioned in our own Meineke Car Care Center, so you know you're getting the very best pre-owned vehicle you can buy. If you're keeping the car you have, turn the double play in our Meineke Car Care Center with half-off brakes and up to $200 savings on a set of Cooper tires. Don't commit an error on your next used car purchase. Knock it out of the park with up to $3,200 below retail at Arkansas's #1 rated and reviewed independent dealer and proud sponsor of the Northwest Arkansas Naturals, Rath Auto Resources, and the Meineke Car Care Center, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online at rathauto.com.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase price affects trade allowance.
Guys, are you tired of all the hassles with your CPAP machine? Putting on the mask every night, cleaning or replacing hoses and filters? Tired of taking it on trips and wondering where you're going to plug it in? And don't forget the distilled water. You need a solution. River Valley Sleep Solutions. Replace your CPAP with an innovative custom-fitted mouthguard. Medical insurance is accepted, and financing options are available. Find out more at rivervalleysleep.com. That's rivervalleysleep.com.
Looking to upgrade your fleet or needing professional service to your existing fleet? Carco International of Fort Smith offers the latest trucks and equipment in the industry. With over 70 years in the trucking and equipment business, they have the experience to keep you on the road. Carco International offers professional service after the sale. Carco International Parts Department supplies all makes, parts, and gives expert service. Carco International is the answer. Leave it to the pros to keep you on the road. Carco International, located at 2721 Midland Boulevard in Fort Smith.
At Hardee's, we change deals forever. Deals used to be a way to get rid of the unpopular stuff. Well, Hardee's thinks deals should sell the best stuff for $2.49, which is why this Hardy value serves up a juicy charbroiled bacon double cheeseburger, our hot ham and cheese, or hand-breaded chicken in our Southern-style tender sandwich, each for only $2.49. One day, historians will look back on this Hardy value as a turning point for deal variety and quality. Historians like to make a big deal out of big deals. Hardee's, because it tastes better.
Offer available for a limited time after regular breakfast hours at participating Hardee's restaurants. Price and participation may vary. Tax not included.
Looking for a new truck or SUV? Dunford is the place to be now. We have 0% financing WAC on new 2018 and 2019 Ford F-150 trucks. We're talking about America's best-selling truck for the last 42 years. Not in the market for a truck? How about an SUV? We have 0% APR financing WAC on new Expeditions, Explorers, and Edges. 0% offers won't last long. Remember, make us a reasonable offer and it's a done deal. Dunford Country. Call us or see us on the web at dunfordcountry.com.
True Grit Running Company is where perseverance meets passion. Whether you're training for your next marathon or just comfortable shoes to keep up with your kids, we have the gear to help you reach your goals. With our slow motion gait analysis and our extensive product knowledge, we have the right pair of shoes for you. We also carry apparel, nutrition, hydration accessories, injury prevention gear, and recovery products. We offer classes, workshops, and group runs. Lace up, show up, and get your grit on. True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
3-2 pitch. Davis, a swing and a miss. He struck him out, and the Razorbacks win it by a final of 14-12. What a comeback here in Vanderbilt. That was the end of yesterday's comeback win for Arkansas at Vanderbilt to salvage the last of the 3-game series. It was a crazy ball game. And really, the way that it finished will show you, how deep you got to dig sometimes to get a win on the road in the SEC. Marshall Denton strikes out the last 2 batters with Vanderbilt's tying runs on base. Marshall Denton, who had changed his first name from Angus over the offseason, who sat out all of last year to build up strength. He is from Beebe, Arkansas, and probably has the slowest fastball on the team. Not probably, he does. It's just a fact. He throws the slowest of any of the pitchers on the team, and is the only one that throws sidearm and has a lot of funkiness to him. He gets his first career save, locking down Arkansas's 14-12 win. And I got to say, you hate when a team loses a series, of course, but Vanderbilt was preseason number 1, Ty. There's something about Vanderbilt that has the feel of a College World Series team. And on Saturday they threw a guy in Kumar Rocker. We'd heard about Kumar from Bill King. His father, Tracy Rocker, was a defensive line coach at Arkansas in the early 90s under Houston Nutt, and is the current defensive line coach at Tennessee. And Kumar looks like he should be a football player, but gosh, he's got a future in the big leagues, because he shut Arkansas down big time in the 12-2 Vanderbilt win on Saturday. And Connor Nolan doesn't get out of the first inning. You end up down 12-0 after 3. The day before, Arkansas had many, many opportunities to score runs, but left 9 men on base and lost 3-2 to the Commodores. And that was the first time that Isaiah Campbell has lost. And it's also, remember Blaine last year went 14-0. You hadn't had your Friday night, so to speak, pitcher take a loss since the 2017 season. And so Campbell gets the L on Friday. You lose 12-2 in a game you were really never in on Saturday. And there were lots of opportunities for Arkansas to kind of wilt away yesterday, but they didn't. And it continues to show me this is a team that plays with a lot of grit. They've got a lot of spine and backbone, and it's tough to point to a statistic that says anything like that. But I think the 15-inning win at Auburn, and then winning 2 out of 3 at Auburn, even winning 1 game at Vanderbilt, to me says something about this team. It's tough to win on the road in the SEC. Now, you never want to get swept. Doesn't matter who it is. I don't care if you're going to play, the Boston Red Sox, and you're a college team. You don't want to get swept. So to see Arkansas score 5 in the 9th against a pretty dominant closer in Tyler Brown, and then to dig as deep as they can could be with Angus Denton, with Marshall Denton, because Matt Cronin had already pitched in the 7th and 8th innings, and so you'd already use your closer. Zebulon Vermillion started the 9th inning. He kind of had really iffy command, so you kind of went to the last man in the pen, and it was Marshall Denton, and it was a thing of beauty. 22 base hits for the Razorbacks. 14 runs. They still left 13 runners on base, and that game took 4 hours and 1 minute. It was an epic ball game, and again, we said this after the Auburn series. I don't know if you can't call it a turning point. We'll see if it helps the team build any momentum this weekend when they host first place Mississippi State.
So I'm watching Game 1 on Friday night, and Campbell was superb.
He was.
He went 8 1/3.
He went 7.
7.
He went. Let me look back. Yeah, 7 2/3 innings.
Okay,
is
7
how he went. Longest he's went this year.
He was phenomenal. And I was watching this. You know what it reminded me of? Kershaw against the St. Louis Cardinals, where he would play he would just have a solid day on the mound, solid night on the mound, and for whatever reason, his teammates, the Dodgers, couldn't get any hits, and Arkansas got a really solid outing from him, and they should have won that ball game, but just couldn't get anything going, and then they get waxed in Game 2. For DVH to get those guys hyped up for Game 3 after just getting drilled in Game 2 and losing a close, tough one in Game 1, it says a lot about this baseball club, especially you said they're down 5 in the ninth inning. That's correct, right?
No, they were down 2 in the ninth
2 in
inning.
the ninth.
They had trailed by 4 runs earlier. They were down 11-8 at the end of 7 innings and scored 1 in the 8th. And then the 5 runs in the ninth
scored
inning.
5 in the ninth, yeah.
They put up 5 in the ninth and had a 3-run lead. It was down to 2 runs after a homer by Vanderbilt to lead off the ninth inning. That ninth inning for Arkansas was great. I mean, because you had the right batters come up. Casey Martin starts the rally with a single, and then Matt Goodhart, he moved up to third in the lineup on Sunday. Dave changed the lineup a bit, moving Goodhart to third, Kerstad fifth. Goodhart's the hottest hitter on the team now. He's on a 9-game hitting streak with 17 hits. RBI triple to knock Martin in from first base. And then Dominic Fletcher with the infield in. Fletch hadn't had a great series. He was 1 for 12 before coming up in the ninth inning and delivering the game-tying single. You get a 2-out walk to Jack Kenley, who seems to work the count at just the right time. And then Jacob Nesbitt. Nesbitt has the go-ahead base hit, and you kind of you had your heroes on at least the heroes in the ninth inning on Sunday come from almost spots that you wouldn't expect. You have the redshirt freshman in Nesbitt, who's probably one of the less heralded players for Arkansas this year, but he's had a great season so far, and he delivers the go-ahead double. And then Casey Opitz, who had been hitting around 200, gives you the 3-run lead with a 2-run base hit. But to see Marshall Denton come out and do what he did was great. I don't know if that necessarily gives you another option as a closer, but it does give you – it puts in the back of Dave's mind that if you need a couple of outs and you need a pitcher that's got a different look than anybody else, because Denton's got much different delivery and much different stuff. He's got a slider that sweeps. He's got a changeup that fades, and he throws from 3 different angles, so it's a much different look. You can give him the ball, and he's the total opposite of a Matt Cronin, where everything is power, 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 and everything with Denton is more kind of soft and it will fool batters. So it was a terrific ball game. I think that it's the kind of game that, first of all, it puts you at 9-6 in conference, so you don't fall into a tie for 6th place in the West with Auburn. You're now in a tie for 3rd place with Ole Miss and LSU, and every game out of the 30 you play in the SEC is going to have massive impact, especially when the top 6 teams in the West are separated by 2 games. Mississippi State swept Alabama. Bulldogs are 10-5, half a game ahead of Texas A&M. A&M took 2 out of 3 in their series with Auburn. Ole Miss dropped 2 yesterday to Kentucky. Kentucky had only won 2 conference games. Ole Miss had been red hot, but they get cooled off with back-to-back losses yesterday, so Arkansas's tied with them. LSU lost 2 out of 3 against Missouri, and Auburn lost 2 out of 3 too. So, I mean, this win on Sunday has major implications for not just the conference standings, but also that's now 9 wins for the Razorbacks on the road, including wins against top 25 teams at Texas, 2 at Auburn, 1 at Vanderbilt. These prove to be very big in the RPI rankings, where right now Arkansas is number 6. So you're still in a position, you're very much in a position where you're amongst the top 8 seeds, perhaps. You're looking 5 weeks away from when the committee, or 6 weeks away when the committee makes their selections. You're in a great spot to host a regional, and you're a great spot to host a super regional if you win that first round.
Which Arkansas fans would be chomping at the bit regardless of who's in the regional or in the super regional or not. We got to go back to that Baseball America rankings where the possibility of the winner of the Austin region would come to that. I can't think of a better scenario for Arkansas baseball. Maybe not in terms of advancing to the College World Series, but just the atmosphere that could be possibly in Baum Stadium if Texas were to come here. But I'm really excited about that. I think I'm going to go to the LSU series, Phil, coming up, because graduation's that weekend. I got a couple buddies that are graduation, so I think I'm going to come up for that. There's still a bunch. The nitty-gritty, the meaty stuff of the schedule. I know you mentioned this last week. It's getting tough, man. Like Vanderbilt, as you mentioned, preseason number 1 in a couple different baseball magazines and different rankings. Like, it's just a grind. SEC baseball is just tough. We always talk about how tough SEC football is. But you echo it and I echo it all the time. SEC baseball is even harder, even more difficult to navigate and make your way through the conference season than SEC football, which is just hard for people to grasp sometimes.
Well, look at how the Arkansas opens the season and thinking, well, you get 3 against Missouri. So it's Mizzou. So what? You sweep them, you're supposed to sweep. Mizzou just took 2 out of 3 from LSU. Yeah, and they're rising in the East. Mizzou is in third place at 7-7-1, have 25 wins. So that 3-game sweep is going to mean something, again, when it comes time to selection time. This weekend you have Mississippi State. They have the best overall record in the SEC at 31-6, and they were the only team to sweep an opponent this last weekend, taking 3 from Alabama. They also happen to score more runs, hit more homers, and have a higher team batting average than Vanderbilt. So that does lead to concerns I have about Arkansas pitching right now because, yeah, you won yesterday, but still 12 runs, 12 hits, and Cody Scroggins just didn't really look like he had a lot of command at all. He threw 2 innings, gave up 6 runs on 6 base hits, walked 4, and this comes a day after Connor Nolan did not retire a batter after facing 5. So I bet you Connor Nolan pitches tomorrow against UAPB. I'd be surprised if he's in the weekend rotation against Mississippi State. I think they might be looking to work Patrick Wicklander into the rotation full time because Wicklander still has shown that he is struggling when he works out of the bullpen. He gave up 3 runs in 3 innings yesterday on 3 walks and 3 hits. He doesn't walk batters when he's starting. He's walking batters when he's working in relief. So I do think that there's going to be a bit of a change as far as pitching is concerned. You're hoping to get Jacob Kostichak back this weekend, and that would prove to be huge for this bullpen. But pitching is a concern right now for Arkansas. And sometimes you wonder, it's like, is it a matter of the lineup that you're facing? Because Vandy certainly has a lot of really good hitters. I mean, they had their leadoff batter yesterday, Austin Martin, reached base in his last 12 plate appearances for the series. They couldn't get him out. You could have had 3 pitchers on the mound throwing 3 baseballs. This guy was going to get on base. It didn't matter. They have a really stout lineup, but Mississippi State does too. So I think Arkansas is going to make a change with pitching, specifically starters, and I also think this team's got to come out and start bashing the ball. I don't think you have to score 14 runs every game, but I think you have to consistently take advantage of opportunities to score, and that's what they did yesterday. All right, that's a little update on Arkansas baseball. There's other stuff going around involving football and basketball, so stick around on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Tye Sports Radio.
Get massive price reductions during spring savings at Orr Chevrolet in Fort Smith. Orr Chevy is taking $7,000 off new body style 2019 Silverados and $10,000 off 2019 Tahoes and Suburbans. Folks, you haven't seen $10,000 off new Tahoes and Suburbans in ages. But it's happening today in Fort Smith. Or get 0% for 72 months for the first time ever on new 2019 Silverados. Spring savings also means lower prices and payments on smaller Chevys, like a Chevy Equinox for $21,437 or $327 a month, or a Chevy Spark $10,991 or $174 a month. Plus, with any new vehicle sold, Orr Chevy will give you a lifetime powertrain warranty, 2 years of free maintenance, and free car washes for life. Don't miss spring savings at the River Valley's favorite, Orr Chevrolet on Auto Park Drive under the giant American flag. Payments based on 75 months and 4% APR with approved financing and 99 or newer non-GM trades. Surf OrChevyFS.com for more details. Chevy, find new roads.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging, the Xerox authorized agency and dealer in the River Valley. The 29 new models of Xerox business printers and copiers represent a quantum leap forward in office technology. They are designed for the way we work today, safely and securely. They're powered by Xerox Connect Key technology. They're innovative and affordable with both black and white and color devices available. For more information, give Dixie Digital a call at 783-6600 or visit us at dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing Xerox document innovations to the River Valley.
ProCare Family Health with locations in Bonanza, Chaffee Crossing, and at their new location in Poteau. 1103 Dewey Avenue in Poteau is your primary care clinic, acting as a principal point of health care to patients of all ages. Their emphasis is to educate patients about their health and how to maintain it throughout their lifetime. They are devoted to the best research models so that their patients can get the highest standard of care. ProCare Family Health can assist with weight loss, testosterone injections, diabetes, and cortisone shots. ProCare Family Health, dedicating to meeting your healthcare needs.
If you needed major surgery, you probably wouldn't choose a doctor who's never been to medical school. So when your car needs major repairs after a collision, why would you take your car to a body shop that's never been trained? Evans Body Shop is among only 10% of collision repair businesses to meet the industry's highest training standards as a gold class shop. We know the latest repair techniques, how to find hidden damage, and how to repair your car's critical safety features so they work properly again. With the safety of your vehicle and your family at stake, choose trained repair professionals. Choose Evans Body Shop,
where we meet the nicest people by accident.
Halftime is brought to you by Orr Auto Park. Score more with Orr. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
No surprise that Carson Shaddy made his way to the University of Arkansas. Well, that one is launched deep left center field. Goodbye, baseball. You got to take out the rye bread and mustard, Grandma. It's grand salami time here at Baum Stadium.
Let's update some news involving Arkansas athletics that doesn't involve baseball. You got some commits over the weekend. Another tight end, a 3-star out of Texas, Alan Horace Jr., number 27 tight end in the class of 2020. And he picked Arkansas over Nebraska, Baylor, Oklahoma State, and Texas Tech. A 4-star offensive lineman. You may have to help me with this name. Tye Crawford. That looks like how it's spelled. Anyways, last name's Crawford, the number 24 offensive tackle in the 2020 class, and the number 40 overall recruit from the state of Texas. So
that's a Nikki question. That's not a Tye Richardson question. It's definitely a Nikki question.
Well, remember, she helped us out with Chiboise Nuwana, and I'm saying his name correctly thanks to Nikki, so that'll be something to ask her tomorrow.
See, you seem like a guy that's good. Once you hear a name for the first time correctly pronounced, you typically say it right. I still butcher names. Like, I'll give you an example. So we have Blake Lovell on every 2 weeks, or we had him about every 2 weeks or so.
Could be either Lovell or Lavelle.
And I initially would call him Lavelle, and he had to correct me, and I was like, and I did that like on the show when I was working in Nashville, and no ill will or anything. That's occasionally I'd butcher, and I'd get so mad at myself because I know your name is Blake Lovell, but especially with names that are a little harder to pronounce, it's kind of annoying sometimes when I butcher or whatever.
Over the weekend, the Vanderbilt public address announcer could not say Casey Opitz correctly.
That's easy.
No kidding. I mean, it's a matter of, I think it was just stuck in his head. It was Opitz to him every time he would come up to bat, even though he came into the radio booth before the Saturday game and said, and he's a very nice gentleman. He said, there's always one name every weekend I have trouble with, and Casey Opitz is one of them. So he says, before he even asked how to say his name, we say to him, Opitz. It's Opitz. Just the emphasis on the O, but he continued to put the emphasis on the incorrect syllable, and he said he kept saying Opitz, even though he repeated Opitz to us 2 or 3 times in the booth. And then the next time he's going through the starting lineups, we're standing there. We're in a commercial break. We're standing there while they're running through the starting lineups on the video board, and he says, I put money on it. I lost $3 to John Thomas on the PA announcer getting it incorrect. I said he's going to get it right now because he just said it right about an hour and a half ago, right in front of me. And sure enough, Opitz. And then later on in the game, he says Opit. Then he took away the S. So he double screwed up Casey's name.
Jeez.
Yeah, I couldn't get that. You got Kerstad right. They figure you might mess up Kerstad. He got Ezel right. You figure he might mess. He got Zebulon Vermillion right. You figure he might mess that up. I mean,
but Opitz, he messed that up. Opitz?
He couldn't get Opitz. He couldn't get Opitz.
I guess
anyway. So with Tye Crawford, my guess is that the emphasis is on the key, the Tye.
I would probably agree with you on that. So,
well, a 4-star offensive lineman should be enough of a focus no matter what.
Tommy was as giddy as a schoolgirl this morning when he heard that, and I think most Arkansas fans, Chad Morris and Dustin Fry and all those guys, they're probably pretty happy too. Now, again, got to get his name on the dotted line, but at least now you got that.
You got to know how to say his name properly every time now.
So I'm curious about this. You don't have a problem with grass being on the football field, but you're not a fan of all-turf baseball fields? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little hoity-toity about baseball fields because I just spent an entire weekend watching baseball at a ballpark with no dirt whatsoever. Vanderbilt's park has zero dirt, not on the pitcher's mound, not on the warning tracks, not on the base paths. There's no grass. They don't have anything that's natural on the field, and it just seems odd. It's funny too because you'll see pitchers want to dig a spot in front of the rubber, a little, not a little divot. Sometimes it's a giant divot. Sometimes it's a valley as wide as the Mississippi River.
Yeah,
and they want a spot to push off of. You can't do that at Vanderbilt. It's the same with batters that want to, dig themselves a little spot for more of a push-off for that back foot. They couldn't do it. It just was weird because they're trying to. Well, keep digging, my man. I mean, there's no way to get through this carpet unless you got a pair of scissors or a knife. And how much time do you have to go find one right now because you get 20 seconds between pitches?
And for people listening right now that don't know what we're referencing, Arkansas removed the turf from Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium, is now putting all natural grass in there. And obviously, Phil being in Hawkins Field this weekend in Nashville, it's a weird, kind of like you're saying, it's a very unique ballpark. That's, I think, initially when you were setting up, you're telling me this is a unique place.
It's a cool park. I like it. It's small. I mean, the dugouts are really right up against the field because there's hardly any foul territory. It's the smallest plot of land for an SEC ballpark. I think you could say the same for their football stadium. That's a tiny facility compared to the rest of the league, and they make the most of the land, just by pinching everything closer to fair territory. Anyway, I mean, I'm all for the thought of putting grass at Reynolds Razorback Stadium. I always like the idea of playing sports on natural turf, but I don't have any problem with the current form of artificial turf because this is pretty safe stuff compared to the stuff that I watched athletes play in, which was, remember we heard Norm DeBrine tell us what it was like to play at old George Cole Field when the padding, faded away and it was pretty much playing on green concrete. I mean, that AstroTurf was pretty unsafe stuff. It ruined careers, but it was cheap, so you didn't have to worry about mowing the carpet. But I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. Maybe problem is not the right word, but I just expect for baseball there's at least some spots where there's dirt. If you're going to have an artificial turf field, have dirt around the bases. Put dirt in the sliding
but
pits.
Not the typical places that are meant for dirt, it seems.
Right.
Like.
It doesn't have to be the baselines. It's like all the AstroTurf ballparks that I grew up with, Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, Shea Stadium in New York. They were all AstroTurf surfaces, same with the Astrodome, but they had dirt areas around the bases. They didn't have dirt baselines. They had dirt sliding pits, a dirt pitcher's mound, and dirt for where the batters hit. Because to me, I don't know, there's something about the push-off spots. There's something about sliding into bases that you're supposed to have dirt involved in it. And I guess I don't necessarily feel that way about football. To me, dirt isn't an integral part to the game. For me, baseball, it sort of is. So anyway, it'll look really good. The real grass will look beautiful at Reynolds Razorback Stadium, so good for that. Ty, I know you got to tell them about what's going on at National Park College, though, before we go to the break.
Yeah, a really cool event coming up Tuesday, April 30th at 6 p.m. Hall of Famer Nolan Richardson is going to be speaking at the Kettle, which is National Park's gyms. Tickets are only $40, includes dinner. Get a chance to listen from Arkansas's head coach during the 94 National Championship and the 95 runner-up. You can purchase these tickets online at mp.edu/athletics. Proceeds from the event will support Nighthawk Athletics. Again, this is a really special event. Hall of Famer Nolan Richardson speaking at National Park College April 30th at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday.
All right, we're going to wrap up the first hour of this Monday halftime next on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Shooters shoot. You're listening to Halftime.
What it's doing to me ain't a secret.
Looking to find a team that gives you more than just a place to be a stylist? Supercuts team members take pride in maintaining a positive, professional, and creative workplace. Supercuts team members provide the highest quality for guests by attending training courses at our Hairstylist Academy. Supercuts has been the highest base paid in the market, including time off, commission-based performance pay, great tips, company-sponsored health insurance, and much more. Simply apply online at supercuts.com or contact Joe at 520-203-4316.
Tired of all the broken promises and broken equipment at your current gym? The Fort Smith Athletic Club is the nicest and most well-equipped fitness and tennis club in the area, with a state-of-the-art fitness center, Pilates, fitness classes, personal and group training, and the best tennis facilities in the region. 7 outdoor courts, 5 indoor courts, plus pickleball and racquetball courts, and free child care is included. The Fort Smith Athletic Club. Call 452-4031 for membership information.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hinton. You asked, and we listened. New financing options available now at Champ Hinton Enterprises. Can you believe payments starting at $150 a month? 5-minute credit approvals and 0 down with trade-ins. Come find out for yourself why we have been serving families in the River Valley for over 38 years with over 35,000 cars, trucks, and SUVs sold. We treat you like family. Champ Hinton Enterprises, I-540 at the Arcoma exit, or champhinton.com.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One has a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
Is your home at least 10 years old and served by OG&E? OG&E is offering Arkansas customers a free weatherization program to increase your comfort and lower your bills. A trained crew will perform an energy audit at no cost to you, and if your home qualifies, our crews will install measures that will save you money. The services provided through this program are absolutely free to qualifying homes. If you could benefit from free home weatherization improvements, call OG&E at 1-800-272-9741. That's 1-800-272-9741.
Ford Auto Park in Fort Smith combines over 90 years of family-owned experience with the best sales and service teams around. And at Or Auto Park, every new vehicle comes with a lifetime engine warranty, free maintenance for 2 years, and free car washes for the life of the vehicle. The largest selection, the biggest discounts, and the best buying experience around. These are some of the reasons why you always score more with Or Auto Park in Fort Smith. Stop in today, or they are always open online 24/7 at orautopark.com.
Perfecting your climbing, one home at a time. B&J Heating and Air. When you need us most, we'll be there. We'll get it right the first time. Give you quality air. For the very best service, you can count on us. B&J is the name you trust.
When you need us most, we will be there. Call 479-646-0284 or go online at bjheatingair.com.
Advanced Mechanical Performance, your premier UTV, off-road, truck, and Jeep repair facility. Whether it's a lift kit, an oil change, or a complete makeover of your machine, go see Cody and the gang at AMP and get it right the first time. These guys know what they're doing and are doing what they know. Advanced Mechanical Performance, 3201 Wheeler Avenue in Fort Smith. Call them today at 434-4161.
Time to wrap up the first hour of halftime here with bad news that Andrew Benintendi is not in today's Boston lineup for Patriots Day because after fouling a ball off his foot yesterday, he had to leave the game early. Not expected to miss very much time, but they already had bad news with Jackie Bradley Jr. Suffering from the flu, and Boston struggling at the first couple of weeks of the season. Benny's hitting .293, just one home run, though. Hopefully that foot won't keep him out for very long. Second hour coming up next on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Park in Fort Smith combines over 90 years of family-owned experience with the best sales and service teams around. And at Or Auto Park, every new vehicle comes with a lifetime engine warranty, free maintenance for 2 years, and free car washes for the life of the vehicle. The largest selection, the biggest discounts, and the best buying experience around. These are some of the reasons why you always score more with Or Auto Park in Fort Smith. Stop in today, or they are always open online 24/7 at orautopark.com.
With Michelin Pilot tires, you can do it all and look good doing it because ultra-precise steering and outstanding cornering power are bound to get noticed. And when you get a $70 reward card after submission with purchase of 4 new select Michelin tires from March 20th to April 18th, you'll look pretty smart too. Looks pretty great, doesn't it?
Get Michelin tires from Southern Tire Mart, 9700 Highway 271 South at I-540 in Fort Smith.
See michelinman.com/promo for details. Offer expires 4/18/2019. Void where prohibited.
It's your piece of land,
your point of pride, your place of peace and quiet. Your yard means something to you. So mow like you mean business with a professional-grade Gravely zero-turn mower. Gravely means comfort. Gravely means strength. Gravely means cutting precision. Gravely mowers mean business. Gravely, build to mow the distance.
Visit Bush Machine and Tractor, 7301 0 Street in Fort Smith, or at bushtractor.com.
At Michelob Ultra, we know it's not just about how much you work out every day. It's about how much you work into every day, too. So we brew our beer for those who realize that expending calories should never come at the expense of spending time with friends. Those who understand that just because you work out doesn't mean you can't go out. And that's why we brew Michelob Ultra to have 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and a crisp, clean taste. Michelob Ultra, brewed for those who live fit, live fun, live Ultra. Enjoy responsibly. 2018 Michelob Ultra Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, 0.6 grams of protein, and 0 grams fat for 12 ounces.
With low interest rates, the home of your dreams has never been more affordable. There's a lot of work to find that dream home, and you need a pro on your side, and that's what Quantum Real Estate has. Seasoned pros that know how to help you find the perfect home, guide you through the financing, and even help sell the house you're in. And if you're thinking about getting into real estate investing, don't go it alone. Get a pro on your side. Quantum Real Estate, a division of Quantum Property Services, encompassing all your property needs. Online at quantumpropertyservicesinc.com, 479-434-6860.
Quantum.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Weather overnight, cool temperatures with our lows between 40 and 45, mostly clear skies. Sunny, breezy, and mild on Monday, our highs between 70 and 75. Partly cloudy Monday night and mid-50s. We get a partly cloudy day on Tuesday and mid-70s. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by Hertz Car Sales, 2810 Midland Boulevard in Fort Smith. You can call them today at 783-1722 or check them out online at buyfromhertz.com.
I hate everything you just said.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Bush and Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3.
They're hilarious.
Good morning, Vietnam! Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry. You know, anything travels that far, ought to have a damn stewardess on it, don't you think?
With Phil Elson.
Bill, I think you do a spectacular job.
And Tye Richardson.
Tye, I love the way you talk, buddy.
Pack your bags, load them up, gas the car, and raise that bright red flag to the skies. 423 miles away, the Emerald City awaits. The Hogs are going to Omaha.
But hold on, it's almost halftime.
Boy, it's good to be back home, at least for a day. At the 5-hour drive from Nashville last night after a 4-hour ball game, which made it probably like a 5-hour broadcast, and then the 5-hour drive. It was a pleasant drive, though. No bad weather. Had plenty of daylight left. Had the lovely lady in the car. Some nice conversation, good music. We're at the point now where we're not uncomfortable with silences. So that's good. You know, our relationship started at the same time, Tye, right? We'd have a little trouble with some silences on a radio show. It's a little different when you're talking about just hanging out in a car together, just trying to enjoy the scenery and enjoy being with somebody that you really like being with. You and I can't have uncomfortable silences. That's called dead air in our profession.
Yeah, I don't think Tommy would be too fond if we tried to pull a Levitard and Stugatz where they just don't say anything for 30 seconds or something, and people question whether their radio's not working, whether the satellite in Florida's gone off air. That's not our stick. We can't do that. And
yes,
we can't silence
can't.
That.
Silence can't be a shtick in radio. It can only be a shtick. You know, it worked for Penn and Teller, but it only worked for Teller. But I don't know how
generational gap.
How much radio the two of them did together. So Penn and Teller are a comedy / magical team. They've been around a long time now, but you might have seen them. Penn is the taller, probably you could describe maybe as heavy set, with glasses and a big old head of hair, and he's the one who does all the talk, literally all the talking, because Teller doesn't say a darn thing. He's silent, and he's the smaller guy, and he just plays off of his facial expressions, and the two of their chemistry. So they've been at this a long time. I'm not going to throw it into halftime homework because I'm not going to force you to learn about these two. I think they do a show in Vegas right now still, but doesn't everybody when they're wrapping up their careers at some point they got a show in Vegas to do?
Yeah, that or just a random casino. I feel like that's like this what everyone does at the end of their career. They either go to Vegas or they just go to casinos across the country.
But the silence thing worked for Teller. It just wouldn't work for Penn. But again, I think when they went on radio shows, because I'm sure they went on radio. In fact, I think Penn Jillette is his name. I think he's done segments with Howard Stern a long time. So I'm sure Teller showed up for some of them. But what are you doing? A guy's not going to say anything, and that is his stick, is silence. Anyway, we didn't have any uncomfortable silences. We don't have that anymore, and that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. I would put that in my 3 up, 3 down, but it's just I didn't write that down. But we do have, on a Monday, 3 things up and 3 things down.
Strike 3. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. What does 3 up and 3 down mean to you, Airman?
End of an inning. Strike 3.
So I'll start with Game of Thrones, the season opener. I'm not going to say anything about the show.
Good.
Because I don't want to do that to any of our listeners who might just want to stream it tonight or sometime later this week, or might be like our friend Tye, who has never seen an episode of Game of Thrones and is going to be catching up on the show before you watch this season.
That's
Am I
correct.
right? If I described it well, you basically have like 67 shows to watch, and then you can catch up with the rest of us and feel like an American in 2019.
I'm hoping that I finish all the seasons before the final episode, so it can kind of all culminate into that one moment. But I got to finish New Girl. It's weird, man. My likes are so odd. As much as I enjoy sports, I go to the complete opposite end, like rom-coms and like feminine type stuff on some of my interests. I don't get it. I don't understand it, but
it's okay to have the two extremes here. I mean,
it's like the most extremist of the extreme. I don't understand it.
I can be the same way. Look, I mean, I did this in Omaha last year. We were there for 2 weeks. At some point, I looked at my feet and I said, "These things are disgusting." And I got a whole day in front of me. I went and got a pedicure and then called a game the next day. That's the second pedicure I've ever had in my life. Do you think that goes with the College World Series? I don't think so, but it did. So you can have both ends of the spectrum. It's okay to watch New Girl one day and watch Game of Thrones the other day.
All right, so let's talk about there. You're going to talk about it because I don't know.
Well, I was going to say it was good. It was really good. It's going to sets up the rest of the season very well. I mean, there was one big secret that we all knew that was finally dropped on one of the people the secret's about. It's so difficult to try to talk about the show without giving any spoilers whatsoever. It was great to see the dragons again. They really are the coolest part of the whole show. And the opening has a little bit of a different feel to it now. The opening sequence that we've all heard the music and seen, all of the different cities and castles that rise up. It has a little different feel to it. The actors look older. Every last one of them looks a little bit older. And it was just fun. But I also feel like I got to watch it again. I got to watch it again tonight because I watched lovely lady and I watched the opening show last night at about midnight, because we got back at like 11 o'clock, and you got to unpack, you got to, get yourself together and get ready for bed, and then turn it on, and you're not going to go right to sleep after a 5-hour drive. So I'm running a little bit on fumes today, especially with the crazy ball game that I got to call yesterday, a 4-hour broadcast where 5 runs score in the 9th inning to win over a team that I think is going to go to Omaha. Not to say Arkansas won't go to Omaha, but I do think Vanderbilt is going to go to Omaha this year. So I got to watch it again tonight and take some more mental notes so I can really be ready for this next Sunday night when we'll watch the second episode. And I got to feel like I really know what I'm watching.
I feel like it's a Phil Elson staple. And the past couple of months I've gotten to know you that you typically won't just watch something once. You watch it like several times because it always seems like you're doing something else while you watch something the first time.
I guess I'm like I wasn't always a multitasker, but I think I've become a compulsive multitasker.
I mean, you got kids, radio, calling baseball, women's basketball. I mean, you got a lot of stuff going on, man.
I always feel like there's something to do. You know, I legitimately don't have any days off these days. I have no days off unless there's a Sunday without a baseball game. And I'm not saying that to complain. I know what I got into doing this. I don't have any days off. Took a day off a couple weeks ago, that Friday, and I'll get into that in a moment too. But now it's pretty much 7 days a week, either baseball radio and or halftime radio, which will be tomorrow when we've got the show at 12 o'clock, and then there's a baseball game against UAPB at 6:30, and then Thursday and Friday we got the same thing because this series with Mississippi State is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. So I don't have any days off, so there's always something to catch up on or read, and part of it is also this stupid phone. I got to be able to just take the thing and put it away, when I'm watching a show or if I'm reading a book or reading an article in an actual magazine made out of paper. Take this phone, put it under one of the couches, and forget about it for a couple of hours, because that's the thing that really keeps the compulsion about multitasking on the forefront. All right, so anyway, my first up is the Game of Thrones Open. It was good, really good, but you do know there are going to be some great episodes for the rest of this season. All right, my first down also goes to what I was talking about, being that day off I took a couple weeks ago. Well, the opening of the Ole Miss series, I wasn't on the show. Lovely lady and I went to Hawksbill Crag. We drove into Newton County, and we went out, and it was raining, and took the hike, and went to Whitaker Point, which is the other term for Hawksbill Crag, and it's 100 feet drop down below, and there are other people who have died there before, so I got a little bit of a fear of heights, so I didn't go all the way to the edge. I'm not going to do that. I did walk out probably about 3/4 of the way to the end of the crag, and looked and then we took a photo together, the two of us, but we were very, very careful about it. And then come to find out over this weekend on Saturday that a 20-year-old student from South Dakota was hiking with friends of hers, and she fell off Hawksbill Crag, repositioning herself for a photo. And obviously, she died from her injuries. And I feel awful for the young lady and for her family and for her friends, because this is a beautiful part of nature, but nature is can be really dangerous if you're not careful. And I don't know what it was that she did when she's repositioning herself for a photo. I know it was wet this weekend, so maybe she slipped and fell, but I feel awful for her, and I feel awful for her family, and it hits home with me that I was just there less than 2 weeks ago thinking about just this. This could actually happen. There's no railing here. I'm not saying that you need to put a railing there, because you walk over to something like that where there's 100 feet down below, what can happen if you're not careful. So that's a way down, and it really hits home with me, because I was excited to see it for the first time. I think it's one of the, if not the most photographed spot in the entire state of Arkansas, but it comes along with an extreme package of danger. So be careful when you're out there.
Yeah, I kind of echo that exact same thing. Just when you're exploring and stuff, that's the only way to put it. So, all right, my first up of the weekend, Phil, Charles Barkley, and I guess his vendetta against the women of San Antonio.
I bet you couldn't do that to them big-ass women in San Antonio. Oh. We're not even in San Antonio. No, you could do that to them little skinny Houston women. You can't do that to them big old women in San Antonio. Why not? You kick one of them big old women in San Antonio, they'll fly out the roof.
What about Victoria's Secret?
Oh, Victoria's Secret down there.
She's still a secret?
I love Shaq's laughter. That was he's like crackling at the mic doing that. Have you not heard about his animosity towards the women of San Antonio?
I have no idea about this.
It's fantastic.
None whatsoever.
So, as many of you know, Charles Barkley says whatever he thinks. There's not much of a filter between what comes out of his mouth and what he thinks, which I think is great. And I like Charles because he's honest all the time. And sometimes people, they feel like he falls out of favor with some people because of how honest he actually is. I think that's hilarious. In a playoff series a couple years back, he mentioned how he doesn't find San Antonio women really attractive. And I'm come to the thinking that there's beautiful women everywhere.
There are.
Just everywhere. It's not. Now, there are certain places more populated than others with beautiful women, a.k.a. my old town in Nashville. Like, they're everywhere. It's unbelievable. But for whatever,
some places there are more than others, but it's all a matter of where you look.
Exactly. So for whatever reason, Charles, he just he loves lashing out at the women of San Antonio. And I just thought it was hilarious. And he always does that. And, of course,
Charles isn't, Mr. Slim himself, as we all know.
I know. That's why it's kind of funny. But Shaq and Kenny kind of Kenny feels weird about laughing. Shaq just go along, laugh whatever. And then Ernie Johnson is just probably shouldn't say that. He's trying to get it to a commercial break and just doing that. It's great. But yeah, that's my first of the weekend that Charles just says stuff like that. First down of the weekend. Unfortunately, one of my favorite players, Ty Jerome on Virginia, he's going to the draft.
After talking to my family, coaching staff, and thinking about it a lot, I decided to forego my senior year of college and declare for the 2019 NBA draft. From day one, I always dreamed about playing at this level. Since I picked up a basketball, I always dreamed about playing in ACC, playing against Duke and Carolina. This program was everything I could have possibly dreamed of. Playing for Coach Bennett every day, playing for the staff, playing with these teammates and for these fans has been a dream come true. I wouldn't change one thing.
Bleacher Report has Jerome as a top 40 pick in their mock draft. He's anywhere from 30, 40, just depends on the different draft websites you go to. I didn't get a chance to play this last week, but he took Mike Francesa to the woodshed on his radio show last week because you heard Francesa, Tony Bennett's never going to win a national championship. He came out and said that. Jerome obviously heard that and was just clowning him during the interview. It was really funny. I mean, we just never got around to playing it last week. There's a guy in 37 starts this year, averaged a little over 13 points and had 5 boards, and I'm just bummed because I thought he was going to be in college forever. So he's a junior, but
you wanted your favorite player to never leave.
Yeah.
Because he probably doesn't have that same impact on the NBA.
Yeah, him and Kyle Guy, they were the backcourt that I really enjoyed watching this year because they both just made play after play, especially in the NCAA tournament, both those guys. But yeah, kind of bummed he's heading on to the NBA before going to senior season.
Can I go back to this Charles Barkley thing for a quick minute?
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, look, and I can be entertained by some of the things he says, but I'd probably be more in the Ernie Johnson or Kenny Smith category, cringing when you're hearing somebody thinking that he's being funny and he's talking, and he's lumping an entire group of people, of women together as being heavyset. In the entire, he's saying the entire city of San Antonio, if I heard him correctly.
And I don't know why he thinks that. I've been to San Antonio. There's pretty women there. I don't know why he's come to the conclusion that there's just a bunch of fat women in San Antonio.
Well, I'm sure at some point somebody will have him on a podcast where they can ask him that question. Because if you're Ernie, if you're Kenny, and you're CBS or you're TNT, you don't want that. You don't want that coming over your airwaves, and I don't think you want that look from one of your commentators. I mean, there's the thing about let Charles be Charles. He's going to say things that bring people to the telecast, but then there's also some insulting things that can come out. Just like I think. Hey, I chuckled a little bit, but at the same, it's just like, hey man, come on, we don't really speak like this very much anymore. All right, my third. I guess this is my second. So, I mean, this is April 15th. Everybody's talking about taxes. Taxes this, taxes that, right? All right, but what about all the other things that have gone down on April 15th? Are you aware of some of the impactful things that have happened on April the 15th?
So you stole my Jackie Robinson integration one because I was going to talk about that, but I saw you put it on the rundown. That was the only one that came to mind.
And that's just one. Abraham Lincoln died on April 15th, 1865, from the gunshot from the night before. I think that was pretty impactful. The Titanic sunk after hitting an iceberg the day before. Over 1,500 people died in 1912. That was a pretty impactful moment in world history. To keep it with more sports, William Taft was the first president to throw out the ceremonial first pitch for the baseball season on today, 1910. I think President Trump said, no, thank you. He didn't want to throw out the first pitch. Yes, Jackie Robinson played his first Major League game for the Dodgers and today. So I think everybody today is also wearing number 42. I think every baseball player in the majors today wears number 42, which is just like, could we please just put last names on their uniforms so we can tell them apart? The first McDonald's opened on April 15th, 1955. Ray Kroc opened it up in Des Plaines, Illinois. And here's another one for sports. It was today in 1965 that the NFL decided to change the color of penalty flags from white to bright yellow, as we now know. I couldn't even imagine what it would look like when you've got the white flags thrown out. I know they throw their hats off when somebody steps out of bounds and then comes back into the field to play, like what one of the wide receivers does. It was today that they changed. They changed the color of the penalty flags, and also today, since April 15th is always the day that the Boston Marathon is run, or I think it's the second Monday or third Monday. I think the second Monday in April is when the Boston Marathon runs. This is the anniversary of the terrorist bombing at the 117th Boston Marathon. April 15th. What's the date on Back to the Future? November 15th, 1955. Doc Brown says this is one of the biggest, most important days in the history of science. Well, April 15th, without question, is one of the biggest days in the history of America. And yes, because today we get a chunk of our incomes sent to the government. All right, my second down, the Whistler baseball fan at Vanderbilt baseball games. This guy is a tired act. And, hey, he sits 2 sections to the left of the radio booth. It's a small ballpark anyway. Thank God he wasn't there yesterday. He was there Friday and Saturday. It is so annoying. It truly is so annoying. And I thought to myself, who would want to be a fan sitting around this guy that continues to whistle at the opposing team every chance he gets? I'm not talking about a little whistle. I mean fingers in the mouth, loudest whistle you could possibly have. I mean, this is like a talent that the guy has. His other talent is having a giant gray mullet. And it is so obnoxious. But this is also just a piece of college baseball, and I have to remind myself that there are fans at every single baseball park across the SEC, including Baum-Walker Stadium, that do annoying things. And they're just trying to get into the other team's head. And I think it works. I do. I think it works sometimes. It got in my head to the point where I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to say anything about this guy on the air because he's saying enough. And I keep getting tweets from people saying, would you mind breaking a beer bottle over that guy's head? Could you mute this? Could you do something? It's like, no, I can't do a darn thing about it until the people that run Hawkins Field do something about it, and they're not going to. So the Whistler, way down.
All right, second up for me, how about Patrick Beverly and KD going at it?
And a foul call on Durant, who barks at him. Durant, they're both out. They've both been just thrown out of the game. Double technicals, which is automatic because it's a second check for both.
So game one between the Los Angeles Clippers and the Golden State Warriors got heated several times during the course of the game. Patrick Beverly was just going in on Kevin Durant. They get a technical, double technicals on both of them earlier in the game, and then late in the fourth quarter, a little over 4 minutes to go, Golden State's got the game in hand. Kevin Durant pushes P-Bev into the sidelines, and they both get tossed. I just like his mentality, and I think Arkansans appreciate that, kind of his blue-collar approach to playing basketball and not backing down from anyone. So that's my second up, Phil. Second down for me, I'm going to do this really quick because it's soccer. This guy named Kaku for the New York City Red Bulls, he kicked a fan in the face.
Out of frustration, Kaku wanted the ball in transition. He didn't get the ball, and out of frustration, he blasts the ball into the fan. It's a disgrace. It really is.
I should reiterate that. He did not kick a fan. He kicked a ball into the fan's face. Big difference there between kicking.
He kicked a ball into the fan. It wasn't he kicked the fan's balls.
Correct.
He didn't want to do that. Okay.
Correct. It's extra time, and the game's over. He wanted the ball earlier than he got it, and he tried to kick it off the wall. He ended up kicking it into the Kansas City crowd, kicked him in the face, and he got a red card and was tossed. Luckily, his teammates, after the game, they went up to the fan. They apologized. They tried to console him. They were like, sorry about our teammate, blah, blah, blah. Hopefully this won't ever happen again. But, yeah, that was a bad moment for the New York Red Bulls.
All right, my third up is going to be the Tampa Bay Rays, who have a 12-4 record and lead the American League East by 5.5 ball games. New York's got a losing record. Boston does, too. So does Toronto. And it is Tampa Bay right now leading the East at 12-4. The trade they made with the Pirates seems to be working out just fine. Austin Meadows hitting .357 with 7 homers as their main designated hitter, and Tyler Glasnow, the big right-hander, has given up just 1 run in 17 innings, picking up 2 wins. And 2 former Razorbacks pitching really well, mostly out of the bullpen for the Rays. Jalen Beeks has a .318 ERA, and Ryan Stanek has worked In 7 games, he started 3 of them, opened 3 of them. He's not a starter. He's an opener, and he's got a 2.16 ERA. So up for them, down for the Seattle Mariners, who cooled off after opening the season with wins in 13 of their first 15 games. Seattle was swept by Houston in 3 games over the weekend. Still, Seattle has hit 39 home runs in the first 18 games, and they lead the majors in runs, hits, doubles, homers, walks, and victories. But still, the Mariners are my third down.
All right, third and final up for me. The Travs, your former ball club, Phil, they won in 10 innings without registering a hit.
I saw this.
It was incredible. They beat the Tulsa Drillers 1-0 and won on a bases-loaded walk in the bottom of the 10th.
You know how this worked out? There's the new rule in minor league baseball. With an extra inning game, there is a runner automatically placed at second base, and that runner was still there with 2 outs. The Tulsa pitcher hit a batter, walked another, and then issues the bases-loaded walk. So this is one of those weird, it's a no-hitter, no doubt about it, but it's also kind of a weird way to end a game nonetheless. I've seen no-hitters where pitchers, where a team no-hits the opponent but loses. Now, this was Tulsa's first no-hitter since 2001 when they had a 7-inning no-hitter to open a doubleheader at Ray Winder Field, and I called that ball game for the Travelers. But that's weird, isn't it, to get no-hit and still win a ball game? That just goes to show hits aren't really all that matter. It's finding ways to bring in a run, at least one run, maybe.
Yeah, go back to when Arkansas faced Baylor in Waco for the College World Series Game 2. They got the bases loaded, and they got hit on a pitch, and they ended up winning that game. Third down, Phil, I'm going to ask you the question. Where'd you eat this weekend? Am I going to have to drill you about this?
You got to drill me about it. It was passed up. You hate me, don't you?
Shut up!
Mm-hmm. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. Second time with 3 days that I went there and did not end up going to Cookout. It was a brief thought yesterday, but after a 4-hour ball game, it just wasn't going to happen. Needed to get on the road. And so I disappointed you badly.
All right, that's my third down.
Well said. All right, we'll step aside for a break. Some SEC news coming up. This is ESPN Arkansas and HitThatLine.com.
When in doubt, expense it. You're listening to Halftime. This is the Morning Rush.
Listen, we've all worked in places, been in organizations where you've had bosses and people you've worked with that believed in you and supported you, and ones that did and ones that didn't. It's always easier to work in an environment where you work with people that support you versus people that don't. People that believe in you versus people that don't.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
The best TV experience in the nation is available locally with personal service from WOW World of Wireless, your neighborhood professional Dish authorized retailer. Dish has the Hopper 3, the most advanced DVR, and delivers a premium viewing experience. Tired of running out of DVR space? With the Hopper 3, you can record up to 2,000 hours of your favorite programming and watch your very own favorite channels and DVR recording anywhere you go on your phone or tablet. Call now, WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474 for more details. Or stop by our location at the corner of Phoenix and Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith, or visit us online at shopwownow.com. Get the Hopper 3 today by calling WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474. Or online at shopwownow.com.
Monthly equipment fees and other restrictions apply. Recording hours vary. 2,000 hours based on SD programming. Remote viewing requires internet connection and compatible mobile device.
Or Auto Park in Fort Smith combines over 90 years of family-owned experience with the best sales and service teams around. And at Or Auto Park, every new vehicle comes with a lifetime engine warranty, free maintenance for 2 years, and free car washes for the life of the vehicle. The largest selection, the biggest discounts, and the best buying experience around. These are some of the reasons why you always score more with Or Auto Park in Fort Smith. Stop in today, or they are always open online 24/7 at orautopark.com.
Looking for a new home course this golf season? Eagle Crest Golf Course has memberships as low as $83 a month for Zoysia fairways and bent grass greens. Is your whole golf group ready to join Eagle Crest? 4 new members can join for just $1,150 each for the entire year. Individual annual memberships are just $1,250 a year. Call Eagle Crest Golf Course right now for all the details. 632-8857. That's 632-8857. Eagle Crest Golf Course, Highway 64, just east of Alma.
Spring into color at the Paint Store in Van Buren, your favorite choice for inspiration in choosing those vibrant colors from Richards Paints to finish your warm weather renovations. The Paint Store in Van Buren is contractor friendly and special orders don't upset them. Sue and Vicky, with over 30 years of experience, welcome all your painting questions and will help you feel confident in your choices of Richards Paints. The Paint Store is at 1414 Fayetteville Road in Van Buren. Come and see them or check them out on Facebook today.
It's your piece of land, your point of pride, your place of peace and quiet. Your yard means something to you. So mow like you mean business with a professional-grade Gravely zero-turn mower. Gravely means comfort. Gravely means strength. Gravely means cutting precision. Gravely mowers mean business. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Visit Bush Machine and Tractor, 73010 Street in Fort Smith, or at bushtractor.com.
The new Perry Robinson Salisal Ford has a bigger selection with over 200 vehicles in stock, personal service from a staff that is ready to work with you, and an all-new service department that's friendly and will fix your car right the first time. This is our promise to you at the new Perry Robinson Salisal Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salisal, Oklahoma.
Perry Robinson Salisal Ford.
Halftime is brought to you by Orr Auto Park. Score more with Orr. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Pack your bags, load them up, gas the car, and raise that bright red flag to the skies. 423 miles away, the Emerald City awaits. The Hogs are going to Omaha. Back on your halftime here on ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com. I was floored when I saw that LSU reinstates Will Wade. I kind of wonder, it's like, you know what? Why even suspend him to begin with? I mean, Joe Oliva says that he answered all the questions. He denied all of the charges. So that's good enough. Good enough to keep Will Wade for now. I mean, the NCAA and the FBI are not going away. So these problems will continue to haunt LSU really throughout the entire time that Wade is there until he is either until any evidence comes out one way or the other. Of course, they're going to have a completely different team. What is it, like four LSU players have declared for the draft?
You got Nazarene, I think Tremont Waters, Skylar Mays, I think Big B Williams. It might be 5. There might be one I'm missing, but yeah, you're right. The specs just don't look good on this. Like, if I was to keep something from Tommy, if Tommy's like, you need to come talk to me about this, and I was like, I plead the fifth, like that looks bad. I don't know how you can say that there's a rational reason. And again, we don't know all the details. We can't get into that stuff because we don't have the information. It just, the specs on this doesn't look good.
You know, I think that LSU probably knew that they had to make a decision on his future one way or the other very soon, because that's the direction you're taking the program. Whether you're either going to live with him or you're going live and die with him, or you're just going to move on and find somebody else. And it's at the point now where what other opportunities, what other coaches are you going to be finding right now that you'd be happy with coaching in the SEC? So I think they're looking at that situation and thinking, you know what? Maybe another year. Maybe he's around for another year. Maybe all of this stuff doesn't come out for another year. You know, they're going to be playing under this cloud now until either evidence is presented, whether all of these allegations are true or not, or whether after this year they figure that it's just too much and get rid of him, or maybe they stink this next season and there's another reason to get rid of Will Wade.
Yeah, and Tim Brando actually went on Feinbaum a couple days ago and talked about how Muss was supposed to be their number one guy if something had happened with Will Wade, so that's kind of interesting. And I think at this point, Joe Leaves just like, well, there's not really anyone else we can hire, so that's probably not went into it, but that's the only reason I can think about. That's just, again, it's the outlook is from our perspectives, and again, we don't have all the information, so it's hard for us to make an accurate assumption of what's going on, but it just doesn't look good from the outer perspective.
I know that there's been some criticism, or just kind of pointing and laughing at when the news from LSU broke. It breaks the day that everybody's focused on Tiger Woods winning the Masters, and there's a Game of Thrones season that everyone's been waiting on, and it's all coming out on the same day. But look, you can't avoid this sort of news, and it's definitely making ripples across the college basketball landscape, because every time that we would talk about the openings for head coaches across the SEC, I feel like we always just assumed that Will Wade wouldn't be there for the 2020 season, that LSU would have to make a move at some point. And I think part of it was also whether or not he finally did meet with the university, because that was the reason that they suspended him to begin with. It wasn't the allegations. It was the refusal to sit down with the administrators and go over these accusations and talk about whether or not they happened. So it looks like that's exactly what the university got. Enough, what's the term, plausible deniability to at least let it stick for another, to let Coach Wade stick for another year.
We'll see what happens. So.
All right, hey, before we go to the break and talk with Kevin McPherson, I want to talk to anybody that's getting into real estate, or if you're just looking for a new home. Right now is the time to get with Quantum Property Services to find your new home, because interest rates are low, and that means you can get more house for your money. But you need a pro to help you with the process. Quantum Real Estate has seasoned pros that know their stuff, and they'll guide you through the experience with confidence. So maybe you're thinking about getting into real estate investing. One call does it all. Call Quantum Property Services. They can find you the right property or properties and make it hassle-free by managing those properties for you. Quantum Property Services, buying, selling, and investing. It encompasses all your property needs. Call them at 479-434-6860, or you can go to quantumpropertyservicesinc.com. I think Tye sat with Kevin McPherson quite a bit over the weekend. They watched basketball up there in Northwest Arkansas, and we'll talk about what they watched. A little bit more with Kevin McPherson next. This is ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
What's your name? What's your sound? You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Tell me this, do you kiss on the first date?
You know, you'd almost have to be crazy to make the kind of offers we're about to make. But then again, you don't get to sell the Cadillac volume we do by offering wimpy discounts. So through the close of business Monday night, Orr Cadillac in Fort Smith is taking $10,000 off new 2019 Escalades. I'm not kidding. Just head to Orr Cadillac at the Orr Auto Park in Fort Smith. Pick out any new Escalade in stock and take $10,000 right off the window sticker. If you don't need all that room, Orr Cadillac is also taking $5,000 off all new Cadillac XT5 crossovers. And it wouldn't be like Orr Cadillac to offer discounts this big on 1 or 2 units. That's why you'll find every 2019 Escalade priced $10,000 off and every 2019 XT5 priced $5,000 off, but only for a limited time. Don't miss spring savings happening through Monday night at the volume leader, Orr Cadillac, on Auto Park Drive in Fort Smith, under the giant American flag.
Is your home at least 10 years old and served by OG&E? OG&E is offering Arkansas customers a free weatherization program to increase your comfort and lower your bills. A trained crew will perform an energy audit at no cost to you, and if your home qualifies, our crews will install measures that will save you money. The services provided through this program are absolutely free to qualifying homes. If you could benefit from free home weatherization improvements, call OG&E at 1-800-272-9741. That's 1-800-272-9741.
At Michelob Ultra, we know it's not just about how much you work out every day. It's about how much you work into every day, too. So we brew our beer for those who realize that expending calories should never come at the expense of spending time with friends. Those who understand that just because you work out doesn't mean you can't go out. And that's why we brew Michelob Ultra to have 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and a crisp, clean taste. Michelob Ultra, brewed for those who live fit, live fun, live Ultra. Enjoy responsibly. 2018 Michelob Ultra Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, 0.6 grams of protein, and 0 grams fat for 12 ounces.
Looking for a new truck or SUV? Dunford is the place to be now. We have 0% financing WAC on new 2018 and 2019 Ford F-150 trucks. We're talking about America's best-selling truck for the last 42 years. Not in the market for a truck? How about an SUV? We have 0% APR financing WAC on new Expeditions, Explorers, and Edges. 0% offers won't last long. Remember, make us a reasonable offer and it's a done deal. Dunford Country. Call us or see us on the web at dunfordcountry.com.
You know, a night out with friends can be so much more. Upgrade your evening at 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Rediscover life's simple pleasures. Dial back, slow down, and immerse yourself in what true relaxation can be. Top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Upgrade your night on the Avenue.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Here it comes. Swing and a base hit to center. Rounding third is Washington. He's going to score. Arkansas wins the ball game. An RBI single by Kerstad in the bottom of the ninth inning.
Let's talk some basketball with Kevin McPherson. He and Tye were at the same event this last weekend up in Northwest Arkansas. And we talked a little bit about what you hope to see from Moses Moody, and I understand he had himself quite a game. First of all, how many games did you watch over the weekend, Kevin? Because I know that there was a lot going on.
I watched several games. I watched live and in person Friday night. I had to get back to Central Arkansas for some family plans, but I was able to watch streaming all of the several games, including Moses Moody, the Woods Elite. So I got to watch a lot of guys play throughout the weekend, but only live and in person on Friday night.
Okay, so tell us how Moses looked.
Oh, he looked great. He had 13 points and had a nice floor game. Played through some foul trouble Friday night in that showcase game against the Arkansas-based team, Woods Elite 17U. That's got another couple Arkansas offers, but he turned around on Saturday and had a 27-point, 11-rebound performance, matching up against R.J. Hampton, a top-level five-star, arguably the top player in the 2020 class. It may reclass, but both of those young men had 27 points in that head-to-head matchup. Moody's team, Bradville Elite, came up short in that game, but he had a nice game. I tweeted out some of his highlights. I watched that game. Very impressed with Moses Moody and what he played in 3 games, led him in scoring, had 15 points in another outing. In a game, they blew out an inferior opponent. But out of 3 games, I thought he played really, really showed well for himself and backed up all these offers. Musselman reached out to him on Monday and reaffirmed his Arkansas offer that he's held since October of 2017 with the previous staff. He also picked up offers last week from Ohio State and Seton Hall. So he's approaching 20 high major offers. And, man, you talk about 6'5" with broad shoulders, a 7+ wingspan. Everyone knows he's one of the top 3-point shooters was last year on the Nike circuit. But he does so many other things. I was really impressed with how he would slash to the basket aggressively and decisively and then kind of put the brakes on and finish his shots with touch, even through contact, that you could tell he's gotten stronger and able to deal with that kind of thing. So, and then he's an underrated defender too. I think he's a guy that can step in there with that length, that wingspan, and get deflections. He's quicker than you might think, and he even challenged Chris Moore at the going to the basket and tied him up and created a turnover there. So I really like Moses Moody's game.
Tell me, you used the term reclassify a few times last week too, and this to me seems like a new term. Tell me what these high school athletes are doing, reclassifying, and what that does for them.
Well, I tell you, a lot of these guys, everybody wants it now, and that's why you see all the transfers. Guys expect to play now, get their minutes now, and you look at these guys reclassifying, they're looking at it as a business decision. I know we make fun of that term, but that's exactly what it is. The sooner you can get to the next level, the better, because that first payday, if your plan is to play professionally, gets here sooner. That's why you see guys now that don't come back to school as much in college when they can get in that draft if they feel like they can be a first-round pick. And you see guys that say, well, I'm going to try to improve my draft stock. Most of the analysts say it's smart to go ahead and get in there and get to that second contract. So when you start looking down, and even in high school, guys are reclassifying, they're really planning for that pro level and getting to that first and second contract as soon as they can. So you're seeing a lot of players now. You look at Kentucky last year, Ashton Hagens, their guard, he was really class of 2019, but he reclassified up, got into that 18 class, and was a freshman this year in the SEC. Back in this time last year in the spring, I saw him match up against Justice Hill, the current Razorback guard, at Real Deal in the Rock. So he went from, really skipping his senior season in high school and getting to Kentucky in a hurry.
It seems to me like that would be difficult to do, and it might say something about a kid's intellectual ability, because if you're going to reclassify, you still have to graduate in order to get to college, right?
Yeah, so apparently these guys figure out. Now, this is the thing that a lot of these behind-the-scenes handlers and different people that have experience with this stuff, they get involved I mean, I see it all the time, even locally, where players are able to somehow get their academics to work out. I mean, Justice Hill did it. Justice Hill graduated early and got to Arkansas, at midterm. He could have played this year if that had been the plan. But it's happening more and more in high school sports, not just basketball, but it's really seen a spike in the basketball game. And again, if you start looking at, this is why I think Musselman, when he's an intriguing hire from the standpoint of how he views all of this, because he understands it, having been in the NBA, he's seen this kind of activity before. And now that it's trickled all the way down, I think it catches a lot of people off guard, and maybe a lot of coaches are reactive to it. But I think he's got a proactive approach to how these things work.
Talking basketball with Kevin McPherson here on Halftime. Kevin, with these upcoming guys in the 2020 class, which do you think is going to be the most important for Eric Musselman to land?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry, we got cut out there.
If there's a guy in this upcoming 2020 class, you mentioned Moses Moody, there's Jalen Williams, there's a lot of guys in this upcoming 2020 class, a lot of talent, not only in Arkansas, but the guys he's going after. Is there a guy that stood out to you out of them all that you think Musselman really needs to land in his first recruiting cycle?
Well, I'm not a big believer in a must-get, and we just talked about Moses Moody, and boy, he sure would be nice. He's a guy that could really help a program. But, the Jalen Williams kid, you just simply can't coach 6'10" with his skill. He's got a lot of face-up skill. He can shoot all the way out to the three-point line, so he's a big man that truly has the ability to score at all three levels. He's gotten stronger. He's not a guy that gets up and down the floor as fast as a Bobby Portis and a Daniel Gafford, although he does get up and down good enough. But what I really like about him is he can put the ball on the deck facing the basket, get to the basket. He's a volume rebounder and shot blocker. So anytime you can get a 6'10" guy with his kind of face-up skill, who's also gotten a lot better playing around the basket, those kind of players are at a premium. And with that pace and space, I think he's a perfect player to fit in a system like that. So there's a guy out of Fort Smith Northside, just had his offer reaffirmed Wednesday of last week. And Oklahoma State and TCU have offered him. Tulsa has as well, but he's going to get a lot more attention. I know Iowa State and Auburn are starting to show interest. But Jalen Williams, the big man out of Fort Smith Northside, I think could really be a building block with that 2020 class.
Yeah, I got a chance to watch him a little bit this week, and you mentioned his shooting ability. I think anytime, especially in today's game, the way that we're transitioning with basketball as a whole, anytime that you can get a big man that can stretch the floor, it'll be a big help. So he's through his first week, Kevin. I heard you talking about it on the Pig Trail Nation last night, some of the good things he's done with the program so far. Is there something that stands out as the biggest impact, what he's done in his first week at Arkansas?
I do, and part of it's some information that's coming out today. He's already got a couple of grad transfers that have announced that they'll be visiting Arkansas, and a third one about to set a date. And I think when you look at the 5 offers he put out last week to those top-level 2020 kids, those 3 kids from Arkansas we talked about among that mix, now you're starting to see, after 1 week, how busy and active recruiting has become in basketball. It was so dormant and quiet. I think that's going to have a big impact for the Arkansas Razorbacks, because now things are going to be moving along at a much heavier pace, a brisk pace in recruiting, and I think that's something that's been missed at Arkansas. Everything's been kind of under the veil, off the radar, kind of slow drip, and now we're starting to see some real activity. And I think that's huge. I think because recruiting is it's a big part. It's maybe the biggest part of success at this level, and this guy's hit the ground running. So I think so far that's the biggest statement he's made. He's spoken well to the crowds. He's done a great job explaining himself and his philosophy, but it's actions. And I think the actions we're seeing already in recruiting have been a huge statement.
He said on the Hog Pod with Bo Mattingly, Eric Musselman, that the key to winning in college basketball is all about players, players, players. And Tye and I have gotten into this, a lot about, for winning programs, it's all about the coach. And for coaches, it's all about the players. And it really seems that Eric Musselman is coming from that philosophy. You got to get the most talent you possibly can on the team, and you go from there.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the current roster. He's seen those guys scrimmage twice last week. He's a guy that does his homework in advance. He's a proactive guy. He talked about the fact that he'd already scouted the Razorbacks before his first interview with Hunter Yurichek, because he was excited about the job, but he wanted Yurichek to know that he'd already, that he's had Arkansas so much on his mind that he'd already done his homework. And I think when he's looking at this roster, even in a couple of scrimmages, he's getting some ideas of what they're going to be able to do for him in his system and what he needs to build around that. And so as we start to see him starting to structure some of these visits, and some of these are guards. One area that we know Arkansas needs help is with bigs first and foremost. But I still think that he's probably already looking ahead, and not only players that can help him in 1 year, but then refilling that class in the following recruiting class with some of those top level 2020 players. So when you start kind of doing the math on his thinking, I think it's impossible right now this soon into it to see where he's going with everything. But it is fascinating because it's moving really fast, and so you got to play catch up with him because he's so proactive.
Can you tell me about this grad transfer, Hanif Cheatham, if I'm saying his name correctly, from Florida Gulf Coast? I know he said he's going to be visiting Arkansas. Where do you think Arkansas could have a chance to land him? And do you think he would fit in for a team that already has a pretty good shooting guard?
Yeah, that's just it. And see, I think Arkansas could use more on the perimeter. So I do think he would fit in terms of if he's fully healthy. He had a shoulder injury, only played 10 games. He started all 10 for Florida Gulf Coast this past season. He formerly was a 3-year player, or all of 2 years and part of a third year at Marquette. Coming out of high school in 2015, he was a top 75 4-star player. So a guy that was averaging almost 14 points a game before he got hurt at Florida Gulf Coast. He told me he'll be 100%, but he's also looking at Cincinnati and Nebraska, so we'll see where that goes with him. But yeah, a guy that I think could definitely help. And you've got a couple more players. Jair Grayer, another 6'5" guard, coming out of North Carolina, Wilmington. Excuse me, I've got that wrong, but he's a transfer that's going to visit Arkansas. He said that he will take a visit. The North Carolina Wilmington is a forward, Chantil Silla, 6'8" guy. So there's a big, if you like that. And he's going to visit Arkansas this weekend. So all this stuff is breaking today, and I'm trying to get my eyes here on where Grayer's coming from. This stuff is moving pretty fast. Grayer's a guard coming out of George Mason. I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought maybe he was the name of the cat in the background.
No, the cat in the background is going to earn a new name today for interrupting.
Kevin, did you get a chance to see Bronny James at all this weekend? Bronny James Jr.?
I watched him a little bit. I watched him a little bit live streaming, and I kept telling everybody, where's LeBron? Asking everybody, where's LeBron James? He's not busy. It's the 1st of April. He's not been busy.
Yeah, he should. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was just, it was my little joke, but I was waiting for you. I got to see LeBron James watch his son in Las Vegas at the Fab 48 event last July. So I got to see him come in, him and Dwayne Wade. But an appearance in Northwest Arkansas would have been big.
Yeah, that would have been really cool. I know on Sunday, Bronny James Jr. not only hit a game-tying shot that sent it to overtime, he also hit a game-winner triple OT. And I joked about future Razorback. And what would be the percentage if you could calculate a percentage that he would end up Razorback? What would that be, like 0.00000, like 10? Like what would be the percentage on that?
Well, I'm a big fan of Dumb and Dumber, and Jim Carrey's line in that where so you're saying there's a chance 1 in a million more. I always like to think that especially when a guy comes to a part, comes into your backyard. I mean, he's been there. I don't think there's really a clean shot to get him, but. He's at least maybe he loves Northwest Arkansas now. Maybe there's something there that gives Arkansas a chance.
One can only dream, Phil. One can only dream.
So you're saying there's a chance. Kevin, I think there's a chance we'll be talking basketball with you again sometime. Be nice to the cat. It's okay if he comes on the air a little bit. Just don't give him the phone. We appreciate your time.
I've turned into a grandfather. It's actually my son's cat, and he's out skateboarding, so I think the cat's a little upset that he's not here.
Oh, poor guy. All right, well, go take care of the cat, and we'll talk basketball again next week.
Good to be with you guys.
You got it. Kevin McPherson covering all things Arkansas basketball at all levels of Arkansas basketball. All right, Cherry on the top of halftime is next. This is ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
The best midday show in the Natty State. You're listening to Halftime.
Kick off the season the right way with a new RV from Crabtree RV in Alma. Crabtree is extending our RV show pricing all season long. Check out our spring show specials like a Salem 207 with a slide and bunks for $147 a month. And with RV show pricing, you can take up to $10,000 off of MSRP on new travel trailers and up to $15,000 off new fifth wheels. And we'll still give you more for your trade than the other guys. At Crabtree RV in Alma. where your family's dreams come true.
Only 10% of collision repair shops achieve ICAR Gold Class status, the highest training level recognized in the industry. Evans Body Shop is proud to be one of them. We know the latest repair techniques, how to find hidden damage, and repair your car's critical safety features so they work properly again. We invest in training because we would never cut corners with your family's safety at stake, and neither should you. Get your vehicle repaired at Evans Body Shop, where your safety is our top priority. Evans Body Shop, 412 Gordon Avenue, Van Buren.
Where we meet the nicest people by accident.
Arts is more than barbecue and burgers. As a matter of fact, Arts has some of the best fried shrimp, grilled tilapia, and salmon you will find. And don't forget the catfish at Arts. Full-size meaty fillets, fried crispy golden brown, with hush puppies and all the fixins. And every Friday is Catfish Friday, featuring their catfish special at lunch and the all-you-can-eat Friday night special. Arts, more than just great barbecue and burgers. Try one of the shrimp or fresh fish entrees at Arts Barbecue on Rogers Avenue next to Aaron's in Fort Smith.
Being the family superhero is a tireless job, constantly defending against monsters in the closet and grass so tall it swallows small children. But who's there for them if you're not? Your local Shelter Insurance agent. With an insurance superhero sidekick, you can find a life insurance plan that helps provide a safety net for your family. Learn more at shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield. We're your shelter. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Call me, Wade Gilkey in Fort Smith.
Or call me, Jim Malum in Charleston.
Hot dog! Spring is finally here and not a moment too soon. Hi folks, Larry Rath here with a better way to drive at Rath Auto Resources. No spring training here. Our all-star team is ready to help you hit a home run with savings up to $3,200 below retail. And the bases are loaded with the freshest inventory in the fort. Cars, trucks, SUVs, all the most popular makes and models right here in one spot. To make this team, these vehicles have to be Rath Road ready. That means they're hand-picked, then inspected and reconditioned in our own Meineke Car Care Center, so you know you're getting the very best pre-owned vehicle you can buy. If you're keeping the car you have, turn the double play in our Meineke Car Care Center with half-off brakes and up to $200 savings on a set of Cooper tires. Don't commit an error on your next used car purchase. Knock it out of the park with up to $3,200 below retail at Arkansas's #1 rated and reviewed independent dealer and proud sponsor of the Northwest Arkansas Naturals, Rath Auto Resources.